Hello and happy Monday, everybody. It's another Monday, it's another vlog, and today, this week, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what it's been like before and after I started transitioning as a transgender woman. There's a phrase I get quite a bit when I am talking to someone about my experience. Cis women tend to respond with the phrase, "Welcome to womanhood." This phrase irks me just a little bit, and I'm going to talk about why this phrase bothers me. If you enjoy my content, please give it a like or a subscribe down below. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing, and it helps the channel out tremendously. Also, I have a charity prom stream this Friday at twitch.tv. You can find the link down below to my channel. We're raising funds for Trans Lifeline. So Friday, 2:30 p.m. Central until late into the night, we will be raising funds. Please come stop by and let's raise some money for a great cause. And now, let's get real about what it's like to be trans. Often, when I'm talking to men about what it was like before and after, I basically tell them, however bad you think women have it, multiply that by 100%. It's usually far, far worse than what I ever imagined as a man. I knew that it was hard for women to do some of the more simple things in life, going to the grocery store alone, going for walks out at night, but I had no idea just how scary it actually was. I've been out in public and gotten lots of stares. I've gotten lots of people who look at me like they do want to beat me up, all because I'm trans. I remember the first time I was out and about in makeup and women's clothing, very new in my transition. I was actually going for a date, and when I was walking past a bar after parking my car, a group of about 10 men came out and they started being very aggressive towards me. It was in that moment, within a month of transitioning, that I realized just how unsafe the world had become for me. I've been very fortunate. A lot of the examples of me feeling unsafe never led to anything actually happening to me, but it is a clear night and day difference from when I was perceived as a man versus now being perceived as a trans woman. When I lived in Los Angeles, I would walk around my neighborhood for hours deep into the night. Now, I wouldn't even go to a restaurant alone very often. I stopped taking myself out on solo dates as much as I used to, and in general, I kinda hate going anywhere public alone. I also felt a change at work. Before I transitioned, I was often seen as a leading force, and after I started transitioning, it isn't that I became less of a leader in whatever work I was doing, but I could feel small, slight changes to how I was perceived within the company. For example, before transitioning, I was being asked to attend all sorts of events. After I started transitioning, I wasn't asked to any events. You could look at this as people being like, well, Erica's probably uncomfortable going to public events now, which there's some truth, but at the same time, to go from being asked to attend several events every few months to being asked to nothing, it didn't feel good. Another example is clothing. When you're a man in a business setting, it's okay to wear polo shirts, dress shirts, and nice pants. You don't have to dress up a ton. And on casual Fridays, I wasn't wearing really nice jeans or anything, but I found after I started transitioning that my clothing was nitpicked by managers more and more and more. It was really frustrating. I would be brought into an office to have a chat about my clothes multiple times after years of never being talked to about my clothing. Meanwhile, whenever I would vent about any of this stuff to my friends, particularly cis women, they almost all would reply with the same phrase, "Welcome to womanhood." This phrase may be meant to be some type of solidarity, but it actually never felt really good to hear. I was venting about how I was feeling, my frustrations, my anxieties, my fears, and instead of being like, oh man, I understand, I have those feelings too, people would use the phrase "welcome to womanhood," and it felt like they were kind of brushing off my feelings. A phrase I would have rather heard is, oh man, I know those feelings too. It really, really sucks. I hate it when I get pulled into the office and have my clothing talked about, or I hate the pressure that's on me to look a certain way all the time in public. Did I have a ton of privilege before I transitioned? Absolutely. I had it far easier than women navigating through the world. As a trans woman, it's been very difficult to navigate the world. I have to consider a lot more things when going outside, when using a public bathroom, and my life generally just requires a lot more thought. You don't even realize how much society is built against trans people until you're living that experience. When people get married and are changing their name, for example, people tend to be very excited for them and they gush about trying to remember to use the new name. People tend to remember the new last name of a married woman far easier than a trans person who's changing their first name. A trans person who's changed their name gets met with, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm struggling remembering it," or they get met with a ton of difficulties simply updating their names. It took me years to get the name changed on my bank account after trying several times, to get it right, to get it the way I wanted it to be, the way my name change paperwork even said it should be. And in that time, just because I was being perceived as a woman now, other cis women weren't always all that nice to me. In fact, some of them would lash out at me because they would perceive my difficulties as, well, duh, everyone knows that it's harder to be a woman. I've had difficulties within the LGBTQIA community. Just because someone identifies as a member of that umbrella didn't necessarily make them my ally. It can be a very isolating thing. Despite all the negatives, the thing that has gotten me through is the community that I have with other trans folks. When I found cis people who are truly allies and truly try to empathize and support me in whatever I'm feeling rather than writing me off, these are the people that make it a lot easier to navigate the world. 5 really good friends can really make a difference compared to having 15 to 20 allies who aren't really that much of an ally. I know it's easy to sit here and sound like I'm just a trans woman complaining and complaining and complaining. However, this Friday, I'm doing something about it. I'm helping raise money for an organization, Trans Lifeline, that does a lot of good work. So please, this Friday, please think about stopping by. Please come and donate what you can and help support an organization that was created for trans people by trans people to serve the North American population. Trans people need community. Some of us have it a lot more difficult when starting out our journeys than others. It is crucial that we help these folks out. That's it this week, friends. I hope you enjoyed what you heard here. Please think about hitting that subscribe button, supporting the channel, and I hope to see you Friday. Wear your most awesome prom-like outfit and let's celebrate trans prom.